Okay, so here's a common one that I'll see on bench pretty often. I kind of covered it in the bench video I did last week, but I just want to kind of focus more in on it because it's definitely one where people lose the benefit of the arch. So, as I've discussed before, the two main benefits to the arch is one, to decrease the range of motion by lifting your chest up to the bar. But the other one, and arguably the more important function of the arch, is to increase the amount of weight through your upper back. The more weight you have through the upper back, the greater the ground reaction force you're going to put in directly under the barbell. And surprise, surprise, force going through here is force that gets returned up into the barbell. So primarily what people do wrong when they set up is they might take some time setting up, getting a good arch, doing all this, getting the weight up, everything's great so far, and then from here, they drop their ass down. And what happens when I just drop my ass down like that is that I have lost pretty much most of the weight. So let's say if I have 100% weight here, or 80% weight here, by dropping my ass down like that, I lose maybe a third of it. So you can feel it if you do it yourself. If you take your time to bridge up, really do a good job of getting as much weight, so your ass needs to be up, and you almost like you're pile driving your shoulders into the bench as you do that, and then from that position, just push your bum down. Don't move your feet. Just push your bum down, and you'll feel that a lot of the weight that was up here has all of a sudden dissipated down onto your ass. So what we want to be doing during the bench press, or during when we're setting our ass down, is we want to be maintaining as much weight through this part of the bench as possible. So we want the feet and the upper back to be the 2 points of contact that are supporting us, that have the most amount of weight. Ideally, if you have a good setup, your ass should just be grazing the bench. Your ass shouldn't be load bearing. And also, if you set up this way, it's much more difficult to lift your bum up off the bench because there's no slack in the setup. And when there's no slack in the setup, it's difficult to find movement from somewhere. So there's kind of this 2 or 3 ways of doing this. The first, or one of the ways I won't show, which is when you come through the bench here, set your feet, and then you kind of set up using the bar as a lever, like this. That is one way of doing it. It's not the way I set up, and I'm not going to do a good job of showing it, so I'm not going to show it. The way that I set up is, as I've shown, getting here, using my legs and my arms, trying to put as much weight through my upper back as possible, and then from there, rather than dropping your ass down, set your feet, pick your ass up as high as possible, and then from there, just walk your feet out wider, and that will bring your ass down. And you'll keep pretty much the exact same amount of weight on the upper back as you would have done as you started with. The other option is to start with the feet up on the bench. I'm going to try and make sure that my microphone doesn't fall out here. So from here, make sure I keep a hold of this. Setting up here, get as much weight as possible, and then same idea. Hopefully this doesn't sound really shit. Keeping the hips high, 1 foot at a time, down, keeping the feet high, walking the feet out wider. So, from that position, kind of putting the feet on the bench, bridging up, and then keeping as much weight as possible, 1 foot at a time, keeping the hips up, the other foot down, keeping the hips up, and then walking them out a bit wider to try and keep as much weight through the upper back as possible. But the main, regardless of how you achieve this, the real aim is to keep the shoulders pinned down into the bench. So when I do eventually get to driving the bar off my chest, it's much easier for me to push force through my shoulders. And it'll encourage me to do so with the legs and everything, because I'll already be doing it. And that will lead to a better push off the chest, a bigger ground reaction force, and a much more solid and stronger bench press. So next time you're setting up your arch, weight up here. That's where you need it. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Check in the next one.